Hey, yo, what it is and what's good, y'all? Welcome back to 280 Plus, the social media podcast where I take the conversations off the timeline and go beyond the tweets, the posts, whatever you want to call it. I'm your host, Los Def, and I'm back here for episode 187. Back here solo with y'all. You know what to do, though. If you're brand new to the channel, I need you to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you're returning or you want to get a part of the conversation, I need you to leave a comment below and share the content with anybody that you know would be interested in what we're talking about today. So welcome back, man. I'm happy to be back. Another solo episode, and whenever I'm in the time crunch, I just gotta put the content out, and we're gonna go solo. And it's no harm or no rhyme or reason necessarily. It's just more so about just the preparation of it. And so today's episode, we are definitely gonna talk about, we don't have a mental health moment today, but we do have like a little bit of wisdom about aging, right? We have a little bit of wisdom about aging. We are going to talk about the national championship, right? Final Four national championship. We're going to talk about that, recap that real quick. I have another recap of Hollywood Demons, and this episode that we're going to talk about has to do with child stars, right? Child stars, and just kind of the perils of that. And this episode, it featured like 4 different child stars that we all can recognize from different platforms, different mediums, and kind of see how it goes there. What else we gonna talk about? We're gonna talk about what else we got. I said March Madness. We're gonna talk about Hollywood Demons. Yeah, we're gonna just kind of preview a mock draft, like one of the first mock drafts that kind of came out. This is like an insider. That's like an ESPN insider mock draft. And we can all guess who's going number 1, but there's a trend there that I want to get into and I want to talk about with this mock draft, and just how it's kind of changed the climate of college basketball. But like when it comes to the NBA draft, they're still looking for something different. All right, so we're going to talk about that, what that trend is. And then we are going to get into talking about these tariffs, right? And some of the effects of it, but also just my commentary. We're going to end it with that. Just my commentary and where I see how things stand, and where is there some disconnect there when it comes to this tariff situation, though. So let me share a video. Well, yeah, let me share a video with y'all real quick. So one thing, the last episode, I didn't even get to, like, I was like talking about a whole bunch of other things that I did not get to like celebrate my own birthday, right? So should I tell you how old I am on the show? Should I tell you? I'm 37. I'll just tell you. I don't care. No, it don't matter. So I'm 37 years young. And I did have a good celebration. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, just one of my experiences that I had with that celebration. But I want to talk a little bit about aging, and I want to share a video with y'all on about aging, and kind of I think this is like a wise little gem here as it pertains to that topic. All right, so because we all get older, and it's just certain things that I wish I knew when I was younger. So now this lady is 54, right? So she's 17 years older than me. So she got some gems here about aging, and we're going to see if we can relate, if we agree, just kind of react to it. All right. So here she go. Let's see what she's talking about. Unmute it. All right, let's go.
Will humble you so quickly. I'm 54, and let me tell you the harshest truths about aging that nobody prepares you for. You won't grow out of bad habits. You'll either break them or they will break you.
I talked about that in one of my most recent episodes about bad habits. Actually, last episode, I said there's no such thing as bad habits. It's basically, it becomes choices at some point in time. But I feel what she's saying there. So, I kind of want to maybe react to some of the points that she's making. I'll let her cook a little bit. But yeah, no, that's real, man. There's no, you don't grow out of them. You make the active choice to change What you doing? All right, here we go.
You'll realize that most people don't actually want to fix their lives. They just want attention for struggling. You're either building a
Woo!
life you love or you're collecting regrets. Choose
Mm.
wisely.
Damn, you're either building the life you love or collecting regrets. Choose wisely. I think that's so pretty self-explanatory, but yeah.
It's not that your metabolism slows down, your lifestyle does.
Yes.
The older you get, the more you realize that keeping the peace usually means betraying yourself.
Damn. Keeping the peace means betraying yourself. So not being so, when you're keeping the peace, maybe you're being quiet about a certain issue, but like what she's saying is that like in the long run, you probably are going to be collecting a regret, like she said before, and feeling like you should have spoke out a little bit more. But I like what she said there. There you go. I like that.
By right around the age of 40, you'll realize that most of the people that you call friends are just people you have history with, not people who actually care about you. After a certain age, being a work in progress just sounds like an excuse.
I like that one. That one is good. Right, right, yeah, because you can't have like it's the same thing with when people say, "Oh, that when you banking on people's potential," right? Like it's like potential only goes so far, right? Like that's not valid too much. I mean, after a while, but the thing that what she said about friends. I feel her. I feel her. I don't know her background, so I can't like I don't want to assume whatever. But like obviously, man, when you yeah, the friends are. I think they are people that care about you. Some people, yes, they probably are people that you just have history with, like some of your day ones. But at the same time, if you're not it takes two. It takes two people. Like I mean, if you notice that you're reaching out and like it's not being reciprocated, then I feel like you can honestly say and agree with what she's saying. But like, man, people have lives, man. People move away to different areas. Everybody don't stay where they are. But like, if a true friend is somebody that no matter the distance, no matter the time, y'all can pick right back up where y'all left off. Right. So let's keep going.
You realize people will let you overextend yourself for as long as it benefits them. Aging
Mm.
isn't scary, but waking up at 50 and realizing you played it safe your entire life definitely is.
Mm.
And one day you're going to wake up and realize that your parents are not going to be here forever, and you'll wish you had spent more time with them. Hope that helps.
That last one, man, with the parents, that does sit that is a little personal to me because I do because yeah, man, I don't live in the same town where my parents live, and my parents are not together at all, but I don't live in the same city as them. So, but I'm always in the city that they live in, right? For work or for leisure, and I do spend time with them, but like it's just certain things. It's like my parents are definitely a big resource, and a big support system like they are part of my village. So like when it comes to like my son and things like that, like they're happy grandparents. And the thing is like it's not something like my son don't be with them every day or nothing like that. He's with me or his mom, 5 days, 6 days out the week, and like we might get a day where he's staying with my mom or dad, and it's a good thing. But we do like with my mom, I definitely make more. There's more plans that involve her. It's not like just everyday random like humdrum stuff. My dad though, I would like to kick it with him, but like he just be acting like real. He just acts real old, and like my dad, man. Like I feel like that's the one thing, man. When I do get older, I don't want to be an old man that's like just stuck in your ways and just tired all the time. And I think though that has to do with like the type of work that he does. My dad does like extreme, like he does like physical labor, and he's been working in the same plant for like he just said it, like for more than half of his life. Like he's been there for more than 30 years, and he'll be 60 this year. And so my dad has had surgeries on his arms because he's had carpal tunnel because of like all the things that he picks up. So like I understand, like he's wearing down for sure. Um, I don't work in that same type of industry, so like hopefully that I still have like my physical health. But like and when my son gets older, I'm able to like kind of kick it with him and things like that. I would like to do certain things with my dad, but like I said, sometimes he gets a little bit stuck in his ways. I don't mind though, like just going over to his house sometimes and just kind of kicking it with him and my stepmom, but just kicking it with him, man. Just even if it's just watching TV, and just just kind of we talk on the phone and things like that. But yeah, I wish there were more opportunities for us to kind of spend time with each other though. But like no, I feel like she was spitting, man. She was spitting some wisdom, spitting some facts. And so yeah, man, I'm not quite at 40, right, where she said there. But I am 37 and I feel good, man. I'm kind of I got like I'm on like a deadline to like, just kind of get I gotta reprogram some things when it comes to like my physical health and my fitness. So like I'm active, I'm very active, but like my eating is not the best. So like I'm trying to like I like what I notice is that yeah, like you have to like just make a decision and get real disciplined. Like, and sometimes it feels like it's like, especially for the people around you, when they see you like changing something up, it is like a little bit abrupt to them, and they're trying to offer you snacks and food and sodas and drinks and whatever, and you have to like turn them down because it's like nah, like this is not like I need to break some of these habits that I have. I have to make that choice. I have to break them. I have to break the habits. I'm getting at an age where I can't just outwork a bad diet no more. Like I gotta eat well and then exercise. And then, but yeah, I've noticed that. I've noticed that over the years how like, you know, when you think about the past, because there's different time periods where you might have been in real good shape or where you were working out pretty regularly, and you notice like the gains that you have or the losses that you have, and but when you get older, when people say like, "Yo, you slow down and it gets harder to lose," that's true. That's true. And was like she said, it's not that you necessarily slow down; it's that your life slows down. Because yeah, I'm not hustling, bustling as much as I was, but I am. I do rip and run a lot though, man. I commute to work. I'm constantly on my feet when I'm at work, and things like that. But I do understand the life slowing down part too, though, and how that can affect things. But so yeah, for one of the things that I did for my birthday, dream come true, man. I was taken to Hell's Kitchen, right? So yes, Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen. So he probably got about like 10 restaurants in the United States. One of them is in Washington D.C. And it was, oh my God, it was amazing, man. Like I was a little bit sick, right? I didn't feel that great. I did feel under the weather. Um, and we missed our reservation, so didn't get to sit in I didn't get to see the blue kitchen, the red kitchen. I did get to see it, but I'm gonna tell you how I got saw that. But the food was still amazing, right? And so the way Hell's Kitchen works, right? Because you're watching the show and things like that, and like that all feels like very much like a competition. I don't know if it feels like a competition necessarily upstairs when you're eating, because I had to eat at the bar. Like, so I missed the reservation and had to eat at the bar, but they was like, yeah, no, it's the same menu, right? So, basically, when you look at the menu, man, like you're seeing the things that you've seen on the show that they make, and you got these entree prices. Now, we talk when entree, you're pretty much just paying for the protein. There ain't really no side that comes with the protein. Like it'll say some stuff, but like all that shit is garnish, right? So like the beef Wellington don't come with a side. It comes with garnish, and it'll say like potatoes and stuff like that, but it's like it's very minimal. It's very minimal. Or if you get, lobster, you get this, you get that. You're paying for the protein. So like, yeah, entree or the meat might be like, one of the most expensive thing on the menu, and I forget what it was because I didn't get that, but it was like $72. Like just and it's for that piece of meat or whatever it was, right? I think a beef Wellington was like $48. And again, you just getting the Wellington. Then they do have sides that you can get. Yo, the sides are like $20. I swear to God, but really good, right? So you can get, but if you want like multiple courses, You can get there's this one thing where it's a tasting menu and you get like five different like courses, but I'm like, what is a tasting portion, right? And they try to pair it with wine and like so they'll bring you five different things. When you look at that, like there's not a lot of substitutions there. And that's the thing, when you go to fine dining restaurant like that, it's not a lot of substitutions. You wanna order what you know you're gonna eat, right? Because you can't be making all these like, oh, hold this, I don't want this, don't no, I don't want this, I don't want that, right? So I got what's called the dinner prefix, like pre like Prix, like Grand Prix, and then fix Fixe, and it's three courses, right? So and it was perfect. It was perfect. And that joint, the prefix is like that prefix, the three courses is like $148. You know what I'm saying? Which, if it's your birthday, if it's a special occasion, it's not the craziest thing, but it is still a hefty price, right? So I got my meal was I got or my courses, I got the pan-seared scallops, right? And I done seen Gordon Ramsay just, yell at people for fucking up them scallops, right? So I got the pan-seared scallops, and they had like a little bit of garnish on it. Had like these like apple chutney on it, and some sauce and things like that. But like, yo, you cut it. You get like three big scallops. Oh my God. They melted like butter in your mouth. Like, oh my God. Like pause. But they tasted so good. The pan scallops, I recommend them to anybody. You know what I'm saying? And you can get them separate. Like you don't have to get them part of this meal, whatever, but you can get separate. Then my entree, I think I had a choice, whatever, but I got the beef Wellington because I'm like, yo, I want to taste that steak that's in that puff pastry. Like, what the hell is that all about? Now there and then so you get the beef Wellington, right? So yeah, it's a puff pastry with a fillet in there. Like and there's all type, but there's like a sauce that they put on it, and then it says like potatoes, right? You get like this like potatoes, and then you get like some root vegetables, right, bro? So I'm gonna tell you this. So the Wellington was good. I'm gonna get into that, but like, so I'm like potatoes, like basically like a potato mash, right, bro? It's just all it is. It's like smeared on the plate, like, and it's like really, it's kind of like hard, like, you know what I mean. So like, you kind of after you take a bite of the Wellington, you cut some. Yeah, I mean, you can like kind of scrape some potato on there, and it tastes good, but like it ain't like the best mashed potatoes you ever had in your life or nothing like that. It's just like kind of like potato smear. Like it's not enough. It's not enough potato for you to like really um decide on what it is. The Wellington, I don't even really I eat medium. This was medium rare. I eat medium or medium well. This was medium rare, which is a little darker than I like, but like it was super tender. All they gave me was a butter knife. Like all I had was my first knife that they give you. It wasn't no steak knife. That joint was cutting through that like butter, bro, boy. And like, yo, that meat was so tender. Everything that goes into the Wellington and like, cause there's like a sauce and there's like something that goes into puff pastry, all that. It was all good. It was all good. I did save a piece for my son, and he was like tripping about some of the stuff that goes into puff pastry. But I'm like, bro, just eat it. Like shouldn't even told you that what it was. You could have just should have told you it was flavor. You know what I'm saying? And but yeah, and then it had like little carrot and like it looked maybe like a turnip or something like that. It was some type of like other vegetable that was there in like little circles, whatever. Those are the root vegetables. But amazing. It tastes amazing. And again, it was about the experience. It's about the experience. And then you get a dessert, and it was this sticky toffee pudding they called it, but it really was like this like little toffee like bunt cake type joint. And then they put ice cream on it, and then they drizzle it with like caramel and stuff like that. But like this little pudding or this little cake was like made out of toffee. And oh my God, it was so warm and delectable, and the ice cream, oh my God. It was definitely worth it. It was definitely worth it. Um, obviously, when you go to dinner with people, like you trying stuff. So like you trying other people's food and things like that. So that's what the mission was. It was like, all right, we gonna get different things. So I could try some of yours, you could try some of mine. I did try some salmon from him. I did try some baked macaroni and cheese from him. It was banging. They used the weirdest noodle I've ever seen, but it was banging. and then had some Brussels sprouts that was like really dope. So definitely recommend you to go there and experience it one time. For a special occasion. It's not something that you will go like. And here's the thing, though. Since I was eating at the bar, it was like like I was dressed a little bit. I was dressed a little nice. You know what I'm saying? And then like and that's what I thought it was because it even says like a dress code. And then you go in there, it's like people just like obviously they be there all the time or something like that. Like that's where they go to get drinks and stuff. And they was pretty casual. And I was like, okay, okay. And it was kind of weird. It was like a culture shock because it's like, yo, like I thought people come here for this particular experience, but like no, they gotta serve people every day. You know what I'm saying? They gotta be open. So it's a little more not casual, but it's a little more regular for people that are local than for somebody like me, though. But definitely 10 out of 10, like 10 out of 10 experience for like just overall. But I did get to go upstairs because that's where so the bar level is downstairs when you first walk in, but then upstairs is where the real restaurant is, and that's where the bathroom is. And so I had to go to the bathroom and I go up and I didn't know what I was gonna see, whatever. And I see the blue kitchen, the red kitchen, and I was upset that I missed my reservation because I didn't get the full experience, but it was still amazing. So I can't, no complaints there, no complaints. But yeah, man, what you do for your birthday? Hopefully, it was something just as good. All the Aries, man. Shout out to all the Aries, man. My man Stu, form guest a couple weeks back, right? His birthday was what April 4th, April 4th. My grandma, rest in peace. Her birthday just passed. My cousin, I know a lot of Aries. I know a lot of Aries, and whose birthdays is right around ours. All right, so, but yeah, man, shout out to everybody. Aries season still going strong. But yeah, man, let's move on to the next topic, man. All right, so next topic, man, we're gonna move on, like I said. And yo, man, how many of y'all wanted to be on TV at one point in time when you were young? Like, how many of y'all wanted to be on TV, or like in a movie or something like that? So it's funny because I'm you can put me on a TV, but I'm not on TV. Like I'm not a celebrity at all. But when I was a when I was a young boy, man, I definitely wanted to be a child star because I feel like so I'm aging. I'm showing my age. I feel like I grew up in the golden era of TV and the golden era of like family or childhood movies, like coming of age stories, right? Like think about all the classic and that were not animated, right? Because like animated movies were okay. Like animated movies are the thing. Like people love animated movies because they make they make I mean with all the graphics and stuff like that, they make really dope animated movies. Like all the brands, I mean, whether it's Pixar, whether it's DreamWorks, whether it's what's the other one? Illumination, whatever, right? Like all these cartoons are dope, whatever. But like when I was growing up, we had an occasional dope cartoon, but then like not all of them was dope. Like yeah, Lion King is a classic, right? But and Jungle Book was a classic, but that was even like way before I got. I think it came out way before I was born. And there's like some Disney ones. You got Beauty and the Beast, whatever. But like that's not what resonated with boys. Even like Pocahontas and Mulan, like that stuff that didn't always resonate with boys. Even Aladdin was cool, but it wasn't like it didn't resonate with boys because it was all about the princesses. Like Disney did not when it came to like when they made stuff when they made movies, they were really trying to cater to like the young girls. You know what I mean? Like I felt like they was trying to, with the princesses and everything like that. So the way that they would, I feel like they would try to appeal to teenagers, but also like teen boys was with the live action movies, right? And if they had like any kind of sitcoms and things like that. So I feel like I just grew up in the golden era of that, and like you've seen a lot of child stars, and I'm talking about like just movies like live action movies from Disney. Like we talking about The Big Green. We talking about um even Brink is older than what a lot of people think it is. If we're talking about Blank Check, if we're talking Richie Rich wasn't Disney, but like still Richie Rich. Talking about like movies like, and I'm going all over the place, but like Rookie of the Year, a league, not a league of their own, Little Big League, Sandlot. Goonies, right? Just different coming of age stories where like live action. That's I feel like those are the things that kind of appeal more to boys in general, and there probably were girls that like some of these movies as well. So always wanted to be on TV, always wanted to be a child star. And when you get older though, you learn you hear all these like bad stories about all these child stars that like kind of like their life goes haywire, right? And you see them in tabloid headlines about like all the different things that they're suffering from. So a lot of times it's alcoholism and drug abuse, and sometimes they have been abused, and then they become abusers, and then you know what I'm saying, like you hear about all this dumb stuff. You know, unfortunately, you might hear about a star like you know losing their life, maybe taking their own life. Over you know all different type of things that you hear about all that type of stuff. So like so then it comes to be like yo, there has to be something that is like really causing this to happen. There has to be something that is like really that messes with you when you are a child star like and it's hard to get that it's hard to get that childhood back so to speak, and that's what essentially it becomes like. That's what we hear a lot of times. It's like well yeah, like it's because these kids didn't grow up to be regular kids, right? So that's a segue into Hollywood Demons, right? I told you I'm watching this documentary series on it's actually on ID, right? The ID channel, but then they air it on HBO Max I think like the next day. So I'm watching Hollywood Demons, and then I'm like waiting for this because I was like waiting for this second episode. I'm like, yo, when does this come out? I still don't know what day of the week it comes on, but I caught this second episode, and it was about child stars. So this episode, yeah, obviously they're showing clips of all these different child stars and things like that, but they decided to focus in on four different child stars, right? So they highlighted and featured Brian Bonsall, right? Brian Bonsall, you will know him from Blank Check, right? So the guy from Blank Check, but also if you didn't know, he's the little boy on Family Ties. He was Michael J. Fox's like little like baby brother, and he ended up joining the show like after like you know way down the line, right? Um, so yeah, so Brian Bonsall, they focus on him. They focus on Zach Ty Bryan. If you ever seen Home Improvement, right? So remember, the star of that show when it comes to the kids was Jonathan Taylor Thomas, and we saw him in a bunch of different movies growing up, and he was like, you know, he was it. But like all three of those boys though had like somewhat cachet, and back in the day if you had three names, like if you went by three names, you like you knew like oh that person's a star. So Ty I think it might be Tyler, but Zach Ty Bryan he played the older son on Home Improvement. So he was the older kid on there. Of the three brothers, he was the oldest one. So they feature him. They feature Orlando Brown, right? We all know Orlando Brown. His first role that we remember him from was Major Payne. He was in I used to see him on Full House back in the day. I think I seen him on Full House. He definitely was on Family Matters for a while, right? But then his biggest roles were his Disney opportunities when he was on That's So Raven, and then I believe he did the voice of Ron Stoppable on the show Kim Possible. So we'll talk about him. And then they featured this kid. Y'all remember him if you see him, but Dee Jay Daniels, and he played the son on the Hughleys, right? Like little I think little Michael Hughley, back in the day. So this episode it features these kind of like and tells the story of some of their lives and kind of like where things went wrong and things like that. So one of the things though on this show they have Dr. Drew Pinsky on it, and Dr. Drew is like he's just kind of breaking it down a lot of times, but like you know, so he'll interject as they're talking about certain things. He'll interject, and that's the one thing that he keeps talking about though is the fact that um that stuff is not like it might be cool, it's cute, it's great, whatever, but like that shit is not normal. Like for kid like child children to be working. Like think about that. Like these are like these kids are employees, and a lot of times these kids are even providing for their families. Like that's how much money they make on TV and movies and things like that. They're able to like kind of change their lives for the movies. So like we see sometimes um it becomes like a hard balance for parents. Like some of them, some of them are good at keeping their kids like kind of grounded and like into reality. But then some of them kind of get worked like dogs or work like horses, so to speak, and they're constantly in the spotlight, you know, um, for the next opportunity. And but the thing is though is that um the the reason why it's not normal is because these kids are not socialized in the same manner that you and I are socialized, right? Like Dr. Drew Pinsky talks about how like yeah, when like you're supposed to be like as much as people talk about public school and things like that, like no, you're supposed to be as a kid, you're supposed to be around your peers. Like you're supposed to be around other kids all day. Like, and you are learning some stuff, but you're supposed to be playing and learning life lessons like throughout the way and learning how to share and learning how to cooperate and learning how to resolve conflicts and testing your strength and your speed and your intellect amongst your peers, right? Against or versus other peers and just that I don't want to say survival of the fittest, but like, yeah, see, the cream rises to the top. So, but like when you're a child actor, a lot of these kids do not go to school anymore. They don't go to school anymore and they're around adults all day. They're around adults all day, working long hours, especially when you're on these sitcoms. These sitcoms, they're there all day and you're working every day for, like every day straight for like 4 months, until, your season comes out, so to speak. So let's get into that. So the first person that they kind of feature, well, matter of fact, we'll kind of breeze through some of them. So Zach Ty Bryan, basically like he suffered from the kid from Home Improvement. He suffered from alcoholism, and then it got really bad for him. He wasn't on the show, and they didn't really have anybody like they didn't have anybody really speaking on his behalf, but they kind of just kind of featured him. They showed like a couple like where is he now and some of the things that he got involved in, but like he was accused of like some domestic violence, but like alcohol is what really like turned his life around, and it just went downhill. So Zach Ty Bryant, Orlando Brown, they had like an ex-girlfriend kind of speaking about him a little bit, but we know with Orlando Brown, it's definitely drugs and alcohol induced pain and just suffering and addiction, right? He suffered from drug addiction and alcoholism. There obviously seems to be some type of like mental health issues, and we see that in today, like when we watch like clips of him when he goes viral, when he's showing up on these like interview shows talking crazy. Like we don't know if it's an act or not, because I've seen him act differently in certain settings. Like I seen a video where he was acting really calm, but so it's like, is it an act? But like when so it made me think about that, like because I just seen him recently. It was Damon Wayans actually talking about him on Club Shay Shay, and I was thinking like, oh snap, like yo, Orlando Brown gonna clap back and say something crazy. But like Damon Wayans was just saying, like, yeah, he must be going through some things, and like he wishes him well, but like, he talks about how like, he played a role in a movie I was in, but like I guess they didn't have like a strong connection after that. But when you watch this show, and so it made me think like, yo, is he really doing this? Is he acting? Is this for show? Like, are these just antics? But then when you watch this documentary and like you see all the different things that he did like over the years, like as he got older, just all the destructive things that he did, like breaking into people's houses and he broke into somebody's restaurant one time, having all these run-ins with the cops. Like you can tell, like something was actually wrong with him. Like something is definitely going on with Orlando Brown, and hopefully, like I said, it's sometimes his rants are a little funny, but then and they're out of pocket, but at the same time, it's like this guy really needs some help, and hopefully he does get that help. And then so the ones that they featured the most were Brian Bonsall and Dee Jay Daniels. So again, Brian Bonsall, he got his start on Family Ties, right? The sitcom that featured Michael J. Fox, right? And he came in like probably like 4 seasons in, and he probably was on the show for like 4 seasons. The show lasted like 8 seasons. And they talked about like, he was just this cute kid and his mom just like, she was putting him out there and she knew that, he was gonna possibly be a star and he had the face and he had the demeanor. They did talk about how, just being a child star though, like some of the things that you got have to endure, some of the things that you had to experience, like just like strange adults like being your fans, and like they were getting like weird creepy mail, or like they would be out in public and like people would like just run up and hug him and embrace him, and then like that if you're a parent, that's probably like, yo, I get it that you think my kid because you watch them every week on TV, but like this is still a person. This is a real person. This is my kid. And like it would definitely put them into some awkward situation. So when he got a little bit older, he was the star in Blank Check, which Blank Check is like classic kid movie, hijinks, kids versus adults, being where he's not supposed to be. When you watch that movie back though, there is like, on Blank Check, man, I'm surprised it's still on Disney Plus, but like there's low key, high key, some grooming that happens in that movie, and like and it's different, and it's just this idea like where it's different when like a older woman is like being flirtatious with a young boy versus like versus if it was the other way around, and how like it's totally unacceptable if like a man is like fawning over a young girl, but like in that movie, like yeah, this grown woman is like, I mean, she even kisses him. I mean, that's kind of wild, and it wasn't no like kiss on the cheek. It was like kiss on. It was wild. It was wild. But anyway, so what happens to him is he also suffers from he suffered from some alcoholism, and what happened was his mom decided she had got remarried and she decided to move to Colorado. So like, and I think he was trying to still do stuff and things like that, but like there was a lot of travel back and forth, and it got to be too much, and he just decided like, yeah, I don't think I want to do this anymore, right? And then the thing is though, after the fact, the mom is like always trying to tell him like, oh, you should get back into that. You should try it. And he's just like, well, mom, you kind of took me away from that environment. So I think his mom, when it came to him being a star, I think she was doing the right thing. I think she was like raising him correctly. But when she took him out of that environment, right? And now he had all of a sudden he had to be a regular kid all of a sudden, and he talked about being in school and kind of getting picked on a little bit because yeah, I'm sure that kids, it might be cool to some kids, but like it probably made people feel intimidated by him, so to speak, or and they wanted to try him because they probably looking at him as like pretentious and spoiled because he's made money, and people probably probably bigger kids trying to get money out of him and bully him and things like that. So he talked about kind of having a rough go at it, and him not being used to being in regular school. So then what happens is, right, he becomes like kind of like an outcast, and he kind of gets into the wrong crowd, and that's when he starts to drink and do drugs at a very young age, and he's like basically partying and raging, and he was saying that he was doing it in front of his mom, like he knew, like like he knew that his mom had to know. And then when they asked her what was like, hey, did you know? And she was like, no, I don't really remember. I can't know. He couldn't have been doing that in front of me. So it was like, yo, he was doing that type of stuff, swearing that he was doing it in front of him, probably as a cry for help, like wanting his mom to help him, and his mom couldn't see it, right? All the while, like he's throwing his life away. He's throwing his life away, and then his mom's still encouraging him to get back into doing movies and doing TV shows. And he's like, "Mom, that ship has sailed." Even though people are calling him to like, "Yo, get on the show," he's feeling like the ship has sailed because, Mom, you took me out of that environment, and like now I got all these new demons that I got to deal with, right? Hence the word Hollywood demons. But the craziest thing about his story was that he when he became an adult, there was an impersonator. There was an impersonator. There was a guy that would go around that because he went to prison. He at one point in time he goes to prison, and a guy that he was a cellie of his, right? Somebody that he was in prison with gets similar tattoos to him, right? And then he's going around telling people that he's Brian Bonsall and he was on Family Ties and he was in Blank Check, right? He's impersonated, and he was using that as a way to get in with women so then he could assault these women, right? So this guy was going around to different states, and he was like a serial, you know what I'm saying, serial rapist, right, we'll use that word just for subliminal purposes, right? Or just so we're not censored, right? So yeah, he was a serial assaulter of women, and he was using the name Brian Bonsall, and then it like it eventually ended up he had to clear his name, and it was this whole thing, whatever. But like no, people was like really trying to like people had a weird perception because like there were headlines coming out like about him doing these things because like oh he's this child actor, when in fact like there was actually an impersonator. So that was crazy. And then with DJ Daniels, man, DJ Daniels' story is a little sad, man, because if you like, yo, you could look up DJ Daniels right now. He's been on like Vlad interviews with DL Hughley and stuff like that. And man, he's the polar opposite of what he was when he was a kid. So DJ Daniels, right? He played DL Hughley's son on the Hughleys, and I think his name was like Michael Hughley, right? And so his situation is a little different than everybody else's, at least what they depicted, because it even seemed like Orlando Brown came from like a middle class like household, even though they said that's the one thing with Orlando Brown. They said his parents weren't like his mother wasn't always there on set, so he was unsupervised a lot. But anyway, DJ Daniels though, he grew up in LA. He grew up in like, I don't he grew up in like Compton, right? He grew up in California. He grew up in on the streets, right? He's from the streets. And this was a way for he come from low socioeconomic status, and this was a way for him to kind of his parents to get him involved in something so he would stay out of that. So he would have a different avenue so he wouldn't have to go through that. And DJ Daniels talks about like his struggles with going to school and how like he would be in school for like a week and then be gone for 3 weeks, and he would have to go to different schools a lot of times, and like it just it wasn't like it wasn't conducive, right? Like so his parents were trying to keep him kind of semi grounded, so to speak, whatever, but like it just logistically that doesn't work, and like school districts don't like when kids are missing a lot of school. It becomes like truancy. It becomes hard for teachers to kind of keep up with a child's progress. And the thing is, like, even though he's doing good on this show, he's making a living. DJ Daniels felt that he was missing out on his childhood because his parents were trying to keep him in school, but he was missing out on all the big things. So like, so yeah, so once the Hughleys ends, right? He thought it was gonna be something that goes on until he was 18 years old. So when it ends after like 4 seasons, he has to figure some things out. So Fortunately, he got a role in the movie Sky High. So Sky High was a Disney original movie. It was like a superhero movie, and he played like a nerdy character in that. And like he was feeling good about it. He felt like, yo, I'm about to blow up right now. Like, I mean, I'm on a Disney movie. It's up from here. And then what happens is, um, I don't want to say he was typecast, but like he was getting roles to be like a nerdy guy or getting roles to be something that he felt like didn't represent him. Like he probably just wanted to be like, he probably wanted to be in some type of movie or story that was like more of a coming of age story, more of something that probably was a little bit more urban. That had to do with some certain things. Like he probably would have loved to be on The Wire or something like that, right? But that probably logistically that probably would probably been hard because him living on the West Coast versus them recording that in Baltimore and things like that. But like he wanted roles that represented him a little bit more, and then he wasn't getting those roles, and like he kind of you know that was like a slap in the face to him. So then he decided to kind of like quit acting. And then DJ Daniels started to like get tattoos on his face. And if you know anything about acting, like your face is your moneymaker. And like it's just certain things that you can when you become an actor, it's certain you could change your hair or whatever. You could even get plastic surgery to improve like parts of your face, whatever, but you can't like tatted up or whatever because then that's what you look like. But like if you see it, so it was like it started with a couple of tattoos. But if you look at him now, because he was speaking on his behalf, Brian Bonsall was speaking on his behalf. Yo, bro, his face is completely covered with his body is completely covered with tattoos. And yeah, he basically got into like basically was gang banging and stuff like that and got into the streets. And his come to Jesus moment, man, was basically he got charged with attempted homicide. He got into like a club fight. He actually got knocked out. And then when he wakes up, he wakes up. I don't know if he woke up in the hospital or woke up in a cop car or something. I think he woke up arrested, and because whoever beat him up or knocked him out ended up getting killed like that same night. And like obviously since he had an altercation with him, he was like one of the prime suspects. He ended up getting exonerated from that, and he was not guilty. And DL Hughley even showed up to his court hearings and stuff like that. And so it was a good thing, but like yeah, he's definitely a shell of himself, and you could tell, like you could see in his face that he lives with like a lot of regrets. And like if you look at his face, like just look at him now, like you could just tell like he can't go backwards. Like he can't reverse anything that he's done now and the life that he lives. And I guess he's just like a guy that's kind of getting by, man. But like man, yo, being a child star is no joke, man, and it's a scary thing. It's a scary prospect, and there's a lot that goes into it, and there's a lot of like perils that go into it. So like, definitely at one point in time, probably wanted my son to try, like see if he could do stuff like that because it just seems like a cool opportunity. It seems fun, and of course, like income is great. That's like a bonus to it. And especially because if you have a kid that says like, "Oh, I want to be on. I wish I was on this TV show." You wish to kind of do that for them, but then like you just hear like the bad stories. But so the people that make it are the ones that just have a good support network. I think those are the ones that are able to take breaks from it, so to speak, and like let that they you allow them to kind of live a certain life. I think it depends. I think it your age of when you get started matters. I think when you get started earlier, that's probably worse because you have to like ride the momentum. I think if you start as a teenager, you have a chance to have a little bit more of a normal life. But if you start as like a really, really little kid, they're gonna Hollywood is gonna squeeze every drop of you that they can. They're gonna get every dollar that they can out of you and try to maximize your kid cuteness as long as they can. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough. So, um, good show. I don't even know what the next episode is supposed. No, you know what? I do. The next episode, I swear, I think the next episode is about like the Power Rangers or something like that. I swear to God. I don't know what happens. I don't know what the angle is, but I think it is about the Power Rangers, and I can't wait to see that one. And I might recap that one as well for y'all. But yeah, what do you think? What do you think? Leave a comment below, man. What do you think about being a child star? And like, did you ever want to be a child star when you were growing up? Did you ever want to be on TV or in a movie when you were growing up? Let me know in the comments below. All right, let's move on to the next thing. And yeah, man, let's talk about March Madness a little bit. So obviously, so we won't get too deep into the games and stuff like that, but because we all know what happened. The Final Four featured Auburn versus Florida and Duke versus Houston, and in both of those Final Four games, we basically see like kind of like comebacks, right? So Auburn had control of their game, and then they kind of got cold down the stretch. And they lost to Florida by not a couple buckets, right? Maybe about 6 points. And then Duke versus Houston. Now Duke, man, Duke had total control of that game. Like I was watching that on Saturday, and I was just thinking like, oh man, this is like, this is about to be a blowout. Like it looked like they were about to like run away with it. But they had control the whole game. They had control the whole game. And I didn't even see the end, right? Because I was at my boy's house and then I ended up leaving. And then I didn't, it was like a formality. I was like, all right, yeah, they definitely won. I wake up the next day and I look at the score and I see that like Houston won by like 3 points. And I was like 2 or 3 points. And I was like, what? Like, how the heck did they come back? Well, man, Duke blew it, man. Duke blew it. There was a 40 there was with 40 basically in the last 42 seconds it was a 9-0 run by the Houston Cougars, and they were able to propel themselves to the national championship. And Kelvin Sampson became the oldest coach to coach in a national championship. It was unfortunate for Duke. Cooper Flagg, even he had like 27 points, but he still was like off. Like he still had an off night because he wasn't that efficient. And he also is somebody that got cold at the end of the game. But he still had like a really good game. It does not affect his draft stock at all. We're gonna talk a little bit about draft stock. Doesn't affect his draft stock at all. He's still probably going to be going number one overall. And it's exciting, but it's unfortunate that he couldn't put that cherry on top, man. Like he couldn't get to the national championship game because yeah, there was still another game that had to be played. He would have had to beat Florida, but like we don't get to see that cherry on top. He could have definitely went down as like hands down one of the best college freshmen ever, right? To because he won play because yeah, although they lost, we found out Saturday that he was voted player of the year. So he got player of the year, and then got to the Final Four. If he could have won a national championship, that would have been the greatest season of any freshman ever. Like, and I don't think you could tell me otherwise. And then to be the person that's going likely to go number one overall, that's amazing. And then the national championship, man, that was a letdown because Houston then basically all these games came down to like comebacks. So Houston was in control on Florida during the national championship. They were kind of they kind of were running away with it. They had a double digit lead in the second half, but then Florida just kind of like started chipping away, chipping away, chipping away, chipping away at it. And they end up winning by what did they win by? I think they won by like 3 or 4 points. Let me double check here. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, 2 point. Oh my God, 2 points. Yeah, so they won by a bucket, man, and they battled back, man. They battled back. Um, so yeah, man. Definitely good games. All around. I think that's the best thing though when you do have like four number one seeds is that like you should get three good games out of that. Out of them 14s, you should get three really good games and they did not disappoint, man. So definitely an amazing tournament, successful tournament. Unfortunately, I did want to see Kelvin Sampson get his first national title. It wasn't in the card for him, and but maybe Houston can reload and they can get back. They've been really good the last several years. Um, Kelvin Sampson's like 69 or 70 years old though. Like, is he gonna keep coaching? How many more years does he have left? Who knows? But yeah, man, that's where we at with that. So let's talk about a little bit about the draft though. So I seen a mock draft come out, and who else but Cooper Flagg do they have number one? Now, the thing with this mock draft, so anything can change with these mock drafts, right? At this point, we don't even know where teams are going to get picked, right? Like what team is going to get the number one overall pick. But me and my homie was talking about it, and we was just thinking about like, all right, so Cooper Flag goes number one. Where? Because you're looking at the bottom teams, like we don't know who the number one pick is going to be, because yeah, they do a lottery, but then also what I mean, record and all that, whatever. So we're looking at the teams. I'm like, well, Washington sucks. He could go to Washington. He could go to New Orleans, right? Because they suck, whatever. He could go to Utah. And then I was thinking, I was like, damn, this boy's gonna go to Utah. He's gonna go to Utah, right? It's I mean, white. We haven't had we this is the I mean white American. Think about a white American player, right? I mean, they are very rare, like amazing white American players. Like I mean, sometimes they're good enough to be at the college level, but it doesn't always translate to the NBA. The last really good white American player we've had is probably Kevin Love. I mean, Kevin Love was a fucking beast in college, and he was a beast for like five. He was a beast for like 6 to 7 years, like killing it in the NBA, like killing it. People kind of overlook Kevin Love, and they make it seem like he was not who he was. But I'm like, bruh, he was that guy, man. He was really that guy. And he probably the last really good one for real, because JJ Redick was a role player. Like Kevin Love was a star for a while. You know what I'm saying? Um, like maybe Tyler Hero, maybe I mean, but no, I think I mean Cooper Flag. So then you look at like the teams, and I'm like, well, yeah, that's like a perfect fit. Like Utah is like the whitest place to play. Like definitely. Like, you know what I'm saying? And very Mormon. I'm not saying that he's Mormon, but like, yeah, he probably would fit in. And you think about the team that Utah has, they got Laurie Markkinen, they got Walker Kessler, they got some good. I'm surprised they have one of the worst records. I think it's because they have some injuries, but like they have some pieces, right? They got Sexton, they got Jordan Clarkson. Like they have some pieces, man. They even got John Collins. They have really good players on their team. It's just like being able to put it together. So like I think a guy like Cooper Flag comes in there and like kind of is the gel. But let's talk about this mock draft that I seen though. So I'm only gonna go through the lottery, and we're gonna like I'm a you're gonna notice something right away. So this is what they have. It says the mock draft again. This might not even be real. This might not even happen. So number one, Utah picks up Cooper Flag, freshman from Duke. The Wizards draft Dylan Harper. He's a two guard, point guard from Rutgers, freshman. Um, the third pick, Charlotte picks Ace Bailey. He's a shooting guard, small forward from Rutgers, freshman. New Orleans, they get VJ Edgecombe from Baylor, freshman. He's a shooting guard. The Sixers get Trey Johnson, shooting guard from Texas, freshman. The number six pick going to the Brooklyn Nets. They get Jeremiah Fears, point guard from Oklahoma, freshman. Uh, the number seven pick, Toronto, they get Kaman Maluk or Malauk, um, the center from Duke, freshman. San Antonio, Khan Knipple, the shooting guard slash three from Duke, freshman. Portland, Caparis Jacusionis, the point guard from Illinois, freshman. Houston Rockets, they select Colin Murray Boyles, power forward center from South Carolina, sophomore. Miami Heat, Derek Queen, center from Maryland, freshman. The Chicago Bulls, Igor Demim, point guard, shooting guard, freshman. Dallas, Liam McNeely, uh, two guard slash three from UConn, freshman. Atlanta Hawks, and then finish out the lottery at like pick 14. The Atlanta Hawks getting Jace Richardson, son of Jason Richardson. He's a point guard slash shooting guard from Michigan State, freshman. Freshman. All right. So, all right, man. So the trend. What is the trend? What was the common theme there? It's freshmen. So I talked on a previous episode how like college basketball is changing, man. Like yes, the like you're still gonna get one and duns. You're still gonna like those players are still gonna exist, but like there was teams that had like three or four one and dones on the same team, and like they were like really good, and they were leading their teams to national championships and stuff like that. Now, yes, Duke was that team that had that. Duke was probably of the Final Four teams. Duke was the youngest team there and most successful team playing with like three freshman starters at least, right? Every other team though was they're using like I mean you got super seniors on a lot of these teams. You got juniors, you got regular seniors, you got guys that have been in JUCO, you got guys that are 24, 25 years old. And what it feels like is that college basketball is getting a little bit older. You're having a lot more grown men on these courts playing against these younger men. And so you're feeling like, all right, well, yeah, I mean, that's going to translate to the draft. No, no, it does not. So although college basketball is getting older, and when they get so once they get rid of the junior college requirements of or the junior college eligibility counting against you, once they get rid of that, and guys are in college at 26, 27, 28 years old, um, I felt like there was going to be a shift towards like them drafting older players, but no, 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 that's not because at the end of the day NBA teams, right? They're drafting upside, right? Because even if you are a proven player, and you're a senior and you're solid and you have all these accolades and you got all this team success, they're still going for upside. They want to be able to, even though they can't, even though the NBA with the CBA they stopped, you can't sign nobody for more than 5 years, 4 or 5 years. Like you can't. It's not like you can guarantee that you're gonna keep a guy for 10 seasons anymore. Even though they can't keep a guy long term, they still want to be able to possibly develop them and like they want to get them young. They still want the youngest and best. Right? They still want the youngest and best. And so that's what we're seeing. So in this first mock draft, only one pick was a sophomore, right? So there were no juniors, no seniors in the lottery in this mock draft. Um, so yeah, so freshman players, and then when I look later on in the mock draft, they had like a lot of foreign players going like after the lottery, and then it wasn't until pick like number 28 where we seen Walter Clayton Jr., right, the senior from Florida, uh, projected to get drafted by the Boston Celtics, and then Phoenix projected to get Alex Condon from Florida, who is like a junior. He's like a junior or sophomore. Yeah, I think he's a junior. Um, so yeah, man. So yeah, I even seen Janai Broom from Auburn. He was going in the second round, super senior. So yeah, man. It's although college basketball is getting older, NBA teams, they like, nah, we don't like, yeah, he good, but we don't want that old head, man. We want somebody that we want to be able to turn them into who we want to turn them into, or we want to get a star at their youngest age, right? And so they can develop and be with us, and we'll sign them to, we'll keep them on these rookie deals and these player options, and I mean because these guys at these young ages they're not eligible for supermaxes even after their rookie deals. So like yeah, they're trying to maximize your age because if you're too old, drafting a 25-year-old player as opposed to drafting an 18 or 19-year-old, like yeah, you got 6 or 7 years extra with this player possibly. So yeah, man, the trends did not change in the NBA that much, at least according to this mock draft. Now, everything can change. Everything can get flipped up once they have the combines, once they have workouts, once they have um, all these different showcases and everything. We definitely gonna see things shift once we actually have the lottery and we know who's picking who or when teams are picking. This could also shuffle around, but like yeah, man. It's looking like we're gonna still see a lot of freshmen get drafted. So it's gonna be a lot of players that the casual basketball watcher might not know because this was their first shot at playing ball. All right, moving on, moving on. Last topic I want to get into. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think about the state of college basketball and then the NBA? Um, do you think like, because yeah, none, like, only it wasn't until, yeah, obviously the Duke players, but like none of the Houston players are projected to go first round. None of the Auburn players are projected to go first round. You got these Duke and Florida guys. The Florida guys late, and then a lot of these Duke freshmen like ready to go. So, a lot of people do. Do you feel like Cooper Flagg should stay one more year to develop, or is it no? Is it a foregone conclusion that he's gonna go to the NBA because he's the number one pick? I think he's gonna go. I think he's gonna go to NBA, and he's gonna go to Utah. I mean, so all right, let's move on. Let's move on. All right, last thing I want to talk about. All right, man, tariffs. All right, so I'm not gonna use the president's name, or I'm gonna try my best not to use the president's name, just because when we try to like put ads on our videos and things like that, it does if like anything with his name in it, it gets flagged, man. So he's censoring people, bro, or he's not letting you. They don't. YouTube does not let you promote stuff that has these people's names in it, right? So we're gonna try to stay away from parties. When we talk about this, we're just gonna talk about what's happening, right? So tariffs, right? So tariffs. So our country has decided the tariffs are now in place, right? Because the president did put, and I'm just referring to him as the president, or I might say 47. So 47, he put out these tariffs, but then he kept pausing them, right? He kept pausing them. So like there was like a day, I think last week, that was called Liberation Day, and that was when the tariffs were supposed to be put in place. And so liberation, because there's this idea that like we are liberating our economy and we are trying to be free of foreign manufacturing, right? So that's all the talk. So what we're doing is we're putting tariffs, or basically a tax, right? A tariff is like a tax or a penalty. It's really a penalty, tax penalty to countries, um, for anything that it's both imports and exports nowadays, because these other countries are putting tariffs back on us, whatever. So yeah, when we bring in goods, if they are from a foreign country, they will be taxed dramatically, and he's putting this stuff in place, right? So China right now, China has decided like, well, all right, America, you want to play hardball? Like we'll play hardball, and we're gonna put tariffs also on your stuff. So like now the number is something ridiculous. Like there's like 125% tariff on Chinese goods, and then they put an 84% tariff on our goods, right? So the effects of tariffs, right? So the effects are this. One is, and what we've already seen is the worry about the tariffs, and then once the tariffs did go into place on Liberation Day, the stock market plummeted, right? So we're seeing a massive impact on stocks, even crypto. We're seeing massive impact on those currencies and the markets. But the problem that presents is that it gives a lot of people have 401ks, a lot of people have retirement plans, IRAs, and things like that. A lot of that type of stuff, like you're putting money into it, but like the market determines it, because a lot of the like 401ks, a lot of them are tied to the market, right? There's some type of investment made with your money, and so people are seeing, like, they're afraid to look at their 401ks, but they're seeing their stuff go down. So markets change. So like, yes, like this is probably it's a buyer's market right now. Even though it's bad right now, we know, like, if you have to have faith in it. Like, it doesn't stay down forever. It does eventually go up. But yeah, you want to buy when it's low, when everything is bad seemingly, because then you're gonna get a bigger return, because it's gonna grow exponentially. People are gonna get more confidence. Stocks are gonna go up. The problem is, though, that with people with 401ks and retirement plans, is that if you're at the end of your career, right, where like if you're towards the end of your career and you're seeing your retirement plan wipe, like you're seeing $200,000 wipe out of your retirement plan, that's definitely giving you a cause for pause because now you feel like you have to work a little bit longer, right, for the markets to kind of bounce back for you to feel confident that you can retire and that you have enough money to retire. So that is the bad thing, but that's one of the effects. Another effect is actually something I'm going to share with y'all. And the another effect of these tariffs is that one, other countries can put tariffs on us, whatever. But here's another thing that I don't think that we've all considered as Americans, and it has to do with intellectual property. All right. So let's talk about this. So all right, if our goods are gonna be taxed, right, or if they're gonna put a tariff on our goods, this could be China's plan to counteract that. So here it says China legalizes counterfeiting American products. So there's laws about that. There's trademark laws. There's IP laws about that. But here's what they could do. Let's take a listen here.
China's about to go nuclear on American intellectual property, and they are not messing around. So intellectual property rights on American design products is really key to allowing America to sell premium products globally. So think iPhone, think Dyson vacuum cleaners, think Microsoft Word. So until recently, China has actually put in restrictions on copying of American goods, mostly to meet international trade regulations. But a couple of days ago at the China State Council meeting, they basically said, we don't care anymore. If you put in tariffs on us, we are just going to open the doors for IP infringement. We're going to copy everything that American businesses create, and we're just going to sell it at like 5 cents onto the dollar. Essentially saying that we're going to undercut all of your products. They're going to become worthless, and the rest of the world is going to benefit. And because China has the manufacturing capacity to do this, they can build American products, American design products at scale. They don't have to circumvent the quality anymore, like they used to have to, right? With a patent, you have to go around and make slight alterations so the product isn't as good. But they're now saying, we're just going to copy it one to one, and our products are going to be just as good as yours. You design them, we don't care. And we're just going to make the money off it because you're hurting us. China's about to go nuclear on America.
All right, so you hear that. So that's a thing. So even though, while we're going to war, like having a trade war with them, and we're putting tariffs on them, and them putting tariffs back on us, there's another alternative, right? Because one, they have the manufacturing capacity that we don't have, right? But then, yeah, if they decide to say, suck it to all these different trademark laws, and then they start because fake Chinese stuff has always existed, right? And sometimes the quality is not as good, right? But like if they're saying if they don't care about it, and because a lot of stuff is made in the same factories, if they don't care about the counterfeiting stuff and they're gonna be selling it to other places anyway, like yo, that's bad. That's really bad for the US, and that's like a secret weapon that they kind of have at their disposal, especially if they don't care. Like if they don't care about any penalties or loss, it's like what y'all gonna do? You ain't gonna you're not gonna get this money, right? So like it don't matter. You can sue all you want. We're not paying y'all. We're not honoring that. If they go in that direction, it's gonna be a long day for us. It's gonna be a long day. So yeah, man, this tariff thing is crazy. Now, if I seen this thing where even Ronald Reagan back, that is the savior of one of the parties, right? And even he has spoke on tariffs, and he talks about like tariffs are something that have to be sure you can use them, but they're temporary, right? They're temporary. And it's something that he gets into it a little bit more deeper. I'm not an economist or anything like that, but like if our president is using it as a negotiation tactic, it could work. It could work. You know what I mean? Flexing on everybody. But the problem is like you always got to think about if it doesn't work. What's the worst case scenario? What's the worst case? And the worst case would be that the goods that we enjoy on a daily basis, the prices of those things skyrocket. And the current president did not run on prices going up. He ran on prices going down. And if the people, especially his constituents, if they don't hold him accountable for that, that's when it looks goofy. That's when it looks fake. That's when it looks like, yo, see, that's when people talk about it's a cult and things like that. That's what we talking about because you can vote for somebody, you can support somebody, but you got to keep it a buck. If they not doing what you asked them to do or what you're expecting them to do, then you need to hold their feet to the fire, just like you would if the opposing party wins. You got to hold their feet to the fire. So yeah, so if it's a negotiating tactic, okay, I guess, but like it's something that has to be like temporary because the market relies on stability and predictability. And if the market is going up and like we don't know what's legal, what's not legal, how much things are going to cost, that's when we're going to get all these crazy dips, and it's going to hurt people, not just the stock market, but it is hurting people's plans for retirement, right? So that's one thing. And the last thing I want to say about the tariffs and everything, because on one hand we're saying it's because like all this time these countries have been at a trade deficit with us, like basically like we can't export at the same rate that they export, you know what I mean, like they don't take our goods the way that we take their goods, so to speak, not at the same rate. There's a deficit there. It's not fair, right? Whatever. Even though like we're apparently our economy is great and we're swimming in money, right? But the thing is, though, if this is about manufacturing, that is, I feel like that's a lie. I feel like it's a lie. It's not about bringing manufacturing back to the United States. So, because part of the thing, the barriers when it comes to manufacturing are, one, the factories don't exist anymore, right? Like the fact, like yes, maybe it was not the most foolproof thing to send all our manufacturing to all these little countries and things like that. Well, but we did. All right, so we're in that position. If this is about manufacturing, the right thing to do would be to give companies a grace period so that they can build factories and they can staff these factories, and so that we can actually have manufacturing, because yeah, there are some benefits to having our own manufacturing, because yeah, if there is another pandemic, if there's another crash, if there's something that goes awry, we need to be able to create our own products. If we can't get to other countries, or if we ruin a relationship with another country, we have to be able to still get our goods. The problem is that though, with manufacturing, there's no way that they can pay livable wages here in the United States as they do, like, because they don't pay livable wages in these other countries, when they have people working in quote unquote sweatshops, right? Like there's no way that you could pay people $30 an hour to make iPhones and Nike sneakers, right? Because we wouldn't stand for that, because well, one, we would want the $30 an hour, but we wouldn't stand for that because the price of the Nikes would be too much, right? So like, that's what trade is about. Like sometimes like even though he's saying it's a deficit, it's also like we are getting something back because they're manufacturing the things that we need and we want, right? So like that is part of it, right? So yes, like we might not be able to, like the trade part of it, it might not be like dollar for dollar might not be the same, but like bro, we're swimming in cash, man. Our companies are killing it because we have the ability to have the foreign labor. Now, I don't want to get into, we can get into ethics and we talk about like, oh, but that's like slavery and like you're supporting like cheap labor and abusive labor. I mean, we all are guilty of that, man. So like I don't want to get into that. Like I'm not on my high horse when it comes to that. Like I don't know enough about it, to be like that. But I know how much I like to pay for things, and that is like unfortunately it's a necessary evil. But another thing though, when it comes to manufacturing, is the fact that like if even if they do bring manufacturing here, what they're gonna want to do is they're gonna want to automate. So again, that takes jobs away. So like, yes, we might have manufacturing here, but it's not like we have jobs. It's not creating jobs for us because they're gonna figure out ways to have to go fully automated. Even they were even I even seen a thing that talked about how like we assume that like everything is a sweatshop over there. No, it's cheap because they spent the money, they created the infrastructure, and they do have automation over there. So like not everything is made by little kids, right? Um, a lot of the stuff that we like and we enjoy is made by robots. So if we actually are able to reestablish manufacturing, you think, and once we figure out that we can't pay people a livable wage, you don't think that they're not gonna figure out a way to go full AI and automate and incorporate automation into these factories, thus taking more food out of our mouths? You don't think that's gonna happen? I think it will. I certainly think it will. So I don't know, man. I don't like this. I don't like where we're at right now in these times, and I don't like these games, man. I ain't got time for that stuff, man. Trying to keep up with it, but trying to keep a level head, it's tough, man. It's tough. But how you guys all holding up, man? Hopefully you're holding up pretty well. What you think about this week's episode, man? What you think about March Madness, the national championship? Who should have won? Who should go who should have won and who should go number one, right? What do you think about that? What do you think about being a child star? Give any thought to that? What you do for your birthday, man? How you feel about aging, man? Did you agree with some of those wise little gems that lady was kicking? And then yeah, man, tariffs. What do you think about the tariffs, man? Did I talk about anything else? I'm trying to think. Draft, national championship, okay, child stars. Yeah, man. Yo, man, if you get a chance, man, go to Hell's Kitchen, bro, dog. I mean, spend that money, man. I do like fine dining that's like a little bit more affordable, though. You know what I'm saying? That's like a once every like 10-year type of thing. You know what I mean? Or maybe even just once in a lifetime type of thing. It's not an everyday thing. There probably are some really good restaurants around your way that you can get a fine dining meal a little bit less, but still, if you're a fan of Gordon Ramsay, I would check it out. Now I think I ain't gonna lie. I think I want to try different chefs' restaurants now. You know what I'm saying? I just want to give them a try. But man, if you're still watching this, I need you to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, man. Leave a comment below, share the content. I love coming out here doing this with y'all every week, man. It's your boy Lowe's Dev. This is episode 187, and this is another episode of the 280 Plus podcast, y'all. I'm out. Peace.